Just turn off all this stuff. Sorry about that, guys and ladies. Apparently, the new cat that I got decided to run underneath of the desk and press the button on the old power adapter. So that, and then mixed with my old computer, apparently it takes about, I don't know, 10 minutes to boot up. So let's start this over again. How's it going, everybody? Hey, Alec, how you been, man? Haven't talked to you in a long while. Just gonna load up Manga Studio here. Da, 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 da. And I don't know if there's ads playing in the beginning or not, but if you guys wouldn't mind, just let me know in the chat if you can hear me. And then we'll get the party started here. Alright, let me just type in the chat here. You guys see the stream? And can you hear me? Well, the chat room's saying there's a bunch of people in here, but okay. So there might be a little bit of a lag then with what I'm talking to what you guys are saying. Okay. Usually when I do live stream here, there's a little bit of a lag, but anyway, hopefully it'll catch up to you guys. So today I'm just working on probably this for sure for at least the next hour, and then we'll stop the recording like we usually do for everybody on YouTube. But I might stay a little bit extra and work on a personal project. And I'm kind of, if I do go that route, I'll share you guys on what's going on. It'll be a new little thing I'll be doing on YouTube as well. But we'll see how it goes. And just to give you guys a quick rundown of what's happening on this page. Let me turn the sketch layer off. So it's really cool, you know, whenever I'm able to break things a little bit like this is, and I mean that with the frames and the panels, how we got to kind of have it turning. It makes it a little bit more fun. And what's happening on this page is up in the top here, we have our main character, the standard, getting tossed out a window. And the next panel, it's him falling. And the next panel here, the third one, it's him hitting the ground, and we're going to have cars blowing up, and I don't know about blowing up, but lifting off the air. And then the last panel here is him on the ground with some blood splatter and all that stuff. So this third panel, I don't know if we're going to be doing that today, because this does require some SketchUp, and SketchUp does get a little bit laggy when I'm using Manga Studio and streaming and stuff. So what I think we'll do is once we're done the second panel, we'll just jump into the third one here. But like always, shows for you guys. So if you guys have any art questions or comments that I might be able to help you with, by all means, just type in the chat. It's like I always say, if you got the question, there's probably at least somebody else that's got a similar question. So everybody is helping everybody. And it's finally Friday. I wanted to talk a little bit about what's been going on. Art-wise and, you know, just some other fun stuff. A few months back, I actually picked up one of those Nutribullets. And for those of you that don't have any clue what the hell a Nutribullet is, it's like a blender. You just throw a bunch of stuff in there, and you blend it, and you drink it. It's the lazy man's way to make a shake. Or maybe a smoothie. I don't know. But anyway, I'm drinking that right now. It's kind of rough. Got some lemon, some spinach, peaches, apples, and carrot, and water. I wouldn't say it's the most tastiest thing, but I think we all get a little spoiled with like energy drinks and stuff like that. Got so much sugar in there, or even like if you just buy like orange juice or something, like a Minute Maid orange juice. Oh man, it's so sweet. So I'm drinking this here. It's like, yeah. Let's turn that down. But yeah, thanks for sticking around, you guys. Apologize for all that little bit of lag in the beginning. And if you guys don't have an account and you wanted to ask a question, just go to, I believe it's livestream.com. Sign up for a free account there. So this page is actually pretty simple. Oh, I didn't even zoom in to show you guys this panel here. So this was actually fun to do. I haven't tried a panel like this in a while. Let me just rotate so you can kind of see what's going on. So here we got our main character, like I said, getting smashed through the window. We're going to throw in the inks and the details after, but working digitally. Freddie E. Williams, he talked about this before, where it was kind of leaving your line art open like this before you start throwing your inks on, just to make it so that you know what you should ink, what you shouldn't ink, or gives you a better idea what you to do. But up here on the top of this billboard on this building, I just added a pretend movie called The Long Way Down by T.J. Bronson and Alicia Fox. And the whole reason I wanted to talk about that as well too today is when you're doing your backgrounds, or even just drawing like, well, I guess it would be backgrounds, or if it's just like a single shot, take into account like the areas that you have available that you can add storytelling elements. So yeah, like this panel by itself is fine, and I'm not saying the whole panel is made because I have that giant billboard at the top. But for those people that do kind of check into that stuff, the long way down, it's a little joke, you know, and then as he's falling down, just a little extra thing. And I recommend, the reason I'm bringing that up is I recommend next time you're working on your backgrounds or anything, try to see if there's any place you can add like little extra story elements, because I find they pay off pretty well. Just turn them sideways here so I can see them a little bit better. So a buddy of mine that I met in New York last year, Will Robson, he's doing a book called, what is the name of the book? I apologize, Will. What is the name of that book? Damn it. Hopefully it'll come back to me in a bit. Unit 5, I believe that's what it's called. Anyway, you know, we usually talk every now and then, and he's been working on a personal project. And he was doing something that I've talked to you guys about before, wanting to do, where it's doing a personal project that doesn't require as much time as like client work, you know. So usually the first thing that you'll side towards in that case is your style. Your style will change a little bit. Probably you want to go a little bit more simplified, maybe cute in a way. And he was showing me some of the work that he's doing for his book there, his own personal book. And the other reason why you want to go a little simple as well is that you don't have to spend so much time doing a page, you know. The detail doesn't have to be there. Like in the standard and work I do like this, usually I try to spend a little bit of time getting the detail in there just to make it so, you know, like when you guys, if you guys read the book, or whoever else will read the book, you know, we are asking for people to pay for it, so you know, John's doing his best to write a cool story, you know, and I want to do it justice as well by giving it some cool artwork, at least the best that I can do, in a timely fashion, as timely as I can make it. So when you're working on personal projects, it's like, well, how do you find time to do that? And like I say, the first thing is usually the style change. So that's what I'm going to probably touch on a little bit after this panel or page, seeing how far we get. Just working on that, but what he was showing me was really cool. You know, it was inspirational just seeing where he was going. And I don't know if any of you guys out there have tried working on your own projects, and you're usually busy and stuff. It's like, how do you find the time to do it, you know? Because a lot of the times that that saying, you know, oh, if you really want it, you'll make time. It's really tough to live by that, I guess. I don't even know what I'm saying sometimes here. I'm like knees deep in drawing here. I can't really focus here. And Ian Cobb is asking, are you familiar with Ed McGuinness' work? I sure am. I remember checking out his stuff way back in the day when I would say he looked like he was drawing a lot of Art Adams and Joe Madureira. I used to read his run on Superman. Everybody had like these gigantic necks and stuff. I love that guy. He's very good. And lately, it looks like his style's the same, but it's the same but different. I would say you're comfortable with it. You look at it, you know it's him. But yeah, no, he's an amazing guy. Just trying to get his booties here. All right. Zoom out here so I can see what's going on. Yeah, see you later, Alec. Hope everything's good on your end, man. Alright, let's get that cape in there. Alright. Actually, just let me beat up his costume a little bit here. So I like to do, some people they'll ask about like detail work, about like ripping up a costume or something. I like to draw them in like this, and then I'll grab the eraser and just kind of like erase little spots everywhere. That way you can just redraw it inside of them. It doesn't make much sense there. Just make them look all tattered and beat up. Oh, I'm looking pretty rough here. See if I can pronounce your name. Catonuccia. Catonuccia? I'm saying that right? They're asking, when I sketch with shapes, the body doesn't come out right. Got any tips? Sure. Before I get into that, what kind of shapes do you usually draw the body? Do you like to work with squares, circles, just whatever shape feels right? Mostly circles. Okay. Just give me 1 second here. I'm just going to finish this cape and then I'll help you out. Alright, we're gonna beat the hell out of this cape in a second here. Try to give a little bit of a Spawn feel, I guess, kind of. But okay, so we got the guy there. And Dan's asking, did you upgrade your small Cintiq to a large one? No, not yet. Still working on the, I think it's a 13WX or something like that. Still working on that guy. Still putting in the mileage. Okay, let me just see how this works. Alright, we'll try it with this. Okay, so Kat is asking, when they sketch their the body shapes, basically, they don't come out right, and I'm assuming it's probably a structure issue. For me, if let's say we had this for your torso and your hips and stuff, like this isn't telling me anything because there's nothing connecting it, you know? There's no bones. It's all just muscles and fat and gooey, chunky stuff. What I think you need to think about too is this right here, at least in my opinion, circles, round shapes like this. This is where you get your life and your energy from. But your square shapes, this is where you get your structure and you get your believability in a way. Because once you can start doing this stuff and thinking of bones like that, obviously once you start putting cool muscles on it, you get that life and that volume and stuff like that back on it. So to address what you're talking about, let's just say we were drawing a 3/4, because everybody usually draws 3/4. The chest, I usually like to start with the chest, and you're drawing with a circle. Just leaving it like that usually doesn't help. Try to figure out where the center is. Okay, because you are drawing a sphere. It's not a circle, it's a sphere. It's got volume everywhere around it, okay? And just start carving out where it would, where your torso would be. You know, like if you were to stick his abs and stuff, or her abs down that way. And another thing to do is when you're thinking about your circles, is put it in a box. Think of it like it's in a cube. Okay? And by doing that, what that's going to allow you to do is that now when you start carving out those shapes, you understand that, oh, okay, this is the side of the body, because that's what the box is telling you. And this is the front, so your pecs would go here. And your arms would pop out of here. And your abs would come out of there. Okay? So try to think like that. It's a little bit difficult at first, but finding your bones and stuff like that. So if you had your chest and your circle, let's say for your hips, try to put that center line. Try to feel it out. From here, what I usually like to do is add some key points, or keystones, I hear some people call them, so you know where you're going. And by using this as a guide, you can figure it out. So figuring out the perspective, we're just going to go straight on. Try to keep it simple. These lines I'm throwing down, this first one up at the top here is the where the collarbone would roughly be. The bottom one would be where the bottom of your rib cage would be from the front. And the top line here would be where your hips start, and this bottom would be where they end. Okay? So knowing that, you could, just to keep it simple, whoops, your collarbones, you know, you got like that round thing, and they go out like this. I'm just going to keep it very simple. And from this, you can kind of make like a bow tie. Goes to the bottom. And if you actually follow these straight lines down from the collarbones, that'll give you the edge of your rib cage. Now the whole, like, there's a lot going on here that honestly, if you pick up a good anatomy book like anything by Andrew Loomis or George Bridgman, they're going to, I would seriously consider spending a lot of time studying this stuff. It might not be fun, it's probably boring, but by doing this, then you can start to like blow up and figure out your own style and all that. But like even these lines, how I'm curving them, that's because there's, you know, the straight line that I put down. That's the line I'm trying to follow. Is that as well? Yeah. So now that we know at the bottom of our circle here, put those little these small little circle lines, and if you connect those to the middle of your rib cage, it's going to give you that round shape of your ribs. Okay. And by following that straight line downward, so look at the front. the top here, I like to think of it like an underwear shape. That would be your hip, or your pelvis, I should say. And actually, yeah, Ian's asking a really good question. Kat, if you have like a picture that you could post that you don't mind showing it for everybody, I could put it on screen and draw over it to help you out a little bit. So yeah, look in here, we can still put our points down. This would be the little, like if you were to carve out your underwear shape like that, this is the front of it. And by putting those straight lines down from the ribs, just going a little bit in there like that, this is where your abs would go. They would never look this perfect. It looks stupid, maybe robotic like that. But now you know the information you need here. You can get your little love handles that connect into the bottom of your abs there. Actually, I did them backwards there. Here it should be stretched, and here we'll squish it. And this is where, like, knowing, excuse me, where the bones, like those straight shapes, really start to help. Because you're going to be putting muscle over top of them. But don't stop right here. Like once you start getting in like this structure here, like your arms, just put it up there and make them look real goofy. Like he's a conductor or something. You need cylinders on top of that. So carve out a spot on the side of your torso for where your arms are going to be. Now you can start making your cylinder shapes. And by doing this cylinder, now you know like where the muscles should be going, like the direction that they'll be going. Stuff like that. I mean, so like I say, there's a crap ton of information there. And going right from your circles, try not to do this. This will probably be the last thing I talk about this. Do your best not to draw like this ever, okay? Again, we'll just draw a 3/4 because everybody does that. Don't do this for your torso and put like a head and then your hips, because there's nothing here to say where everything's going. Instead, once you can understand structure a bit better, start to throw down some more confident shapes. You know, so this right here is the same as that, just I understand it a little bit. Got our spine kind of coming in, and again, the underwear shape. But even this shape right here, you'll learn in anatomy books, you probably already know. And you can carve out where your neck's going to be as well. So yeah, hopefully that helped you out a little bit. Even though I know I was all over the place on that one. Sometimes it's a little tough to address a specific concern, like when it's a honestly, I think it's just a fundamental question. Not saying you can't draw or you don't know how to draw. It's nothing like that. It's just saying you just need a little bit more understanding, I think. Okay, sweet. Kat provided a link, and I'm just going to open it up here and see what we got. Paste and go. Okay. Copy image. This reminds me of like how I used to draw. Let me just move it so we can see it here. Okay, so here you go. Here's Kat's drawing. And before I critique it, if you will, or show you how I would jump on it or whatever, just let me know how far into this you want me to go. Like if you want me to butcher it, tell you straight up honestly, that kind of stuff. Because I know some people that don't like it, they just want a certain kind of critique. So you let me know what you're looking for, and then I will do my best to help you out. And anybody else in the chat room, if you got a question that you'd like answered, or if you wanted me to maybe address something or talk about something, by all means, just post in the chat. Don't be shy. And if you don't have an account with LiveStream, I think it's free. Oh no, I know it's free. And I think it's easy. That's what I meant to say. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is add a contour line over him. And Kat saying, butcher it, be as honest as possible. Okay. Just let me finish this this part right here on my drawing, and then I'll jump to yours. And don't worry, I appreciate and I love the fact that you want it butchered. That means you're serious. To me, it means you're serious about trying to improve. And I'll never chew somebody out. I just don't think I don't think you learn anything from somebody. I don't know if you look up to me or if you're just here because you're trying to get your stuff shown to other people, or why you're here. But I don't know. Showing your art to people, whether they like it or not, is one thing. But if you're asking to improve, and you want somebody to butcher it, by default, you have to find something. Like you get to a point in your skill where you know you're comfortable, and you kind of know what to look for to improve yourself. And there'll be certain people you go to for critiques. You know, and as long as you're doing that, you know, you'll always get better. But there comes a part in your career too, I'll say personally, and this might be wrong, but where you get confident in your stuff, not in a pompous way, but that you don't have to always, you don't feel like, did I do it justice, or did I botch it? You know, like that kind of fear goes away. And all you can think of after that is just figuring out ways to make it better. So let's beat the hell out of this. No, just joking. Okay, so first things first. I don't know your financial situation, but I would recommend looking into a scanner. I know in this age everybody's got the cameras and stuff, but if you're going to take a picture, you see this action right here that you got going on. Oops, let me make another layer. This action you got going on over top, you're making this in perspective already. So there are some errors with your proportions here, but your characters are lining up on this perspective here, which makes their bottoms look bigger than their top. So just get a scanner if you're looking for critiques, or if you're going to post anything online like professional that you want to do, or like let's say you got your own project you want to do, you're not going to be taking pictures. That was neither here nor there. So the first thing that jumps out are the heads are too big. This hand is too big. This one's too big. And you got some issues going on with the knees. It looks like you don't have structure underneath this. It looks like you were just drawing what you think like an arm would look like here. It doesn't look like you found where the collar... I'll draw the anatomy over it, and then you guys can see how weird it looks. But really quickly, I'll just show you how we can improve the drawing right away without doing really anything. So if you had an eraser and you don't mind redrawing heads... See how big that looks. So just redrawing the heads right away. If you make them smaller, it'll improve the drawing. Just go to my history. Okay? But without that, let's just draw the anatomy here, okay? So you've got these veins coming in, which will bring us to a collarbone here. A collarbone here. Straight. So that means her rib cage is there. she's got a very tiny pelvis. And I'll tell you right off the crack, if you're drawing women, this body shape you have right here is 90% wrong. I know there are women that have different bodies, obviously, but usually in drawing, there's some things that just read better to people. And that kind of body right here is safe for guys because they tend to be drawn with the bigger upper body, and then the women, they have the bigger bottoms, right? I mean, they got to fit babies in somewhere, right? Guys, we don't got to worry about that. I don't know what we got to worry about. Women always seem to have all the problems. And, okay, so now that we have this information there, your shoulder blade is about over here. Good guide is your ribs should be where your elbows are, but you have it past that. And then you have this really short forearm, like that, okay? And it looks like you didn't even draw this other arm over here. And you've got your knees kind of coming in like this. And I'm going to draw the other one. And the reason why I'm doing this is I'm going to turn your layer off in a second, just so you can see how weird this looks. And if you want to improve tonight, which I highly recommend you start doing, in case you haven't, is just grab, I believe it's Andrew Loomis Figure Drawing for All It's Worth. It should be free online. It's like saveloomis.org. I don't know if that site still exists, but just give it a look. Just flip through it, and I think you'll be surprised at how easy it can be to improve quickly. But when I said earlier, this reminds me of like how I used to draw. I think, kind of going towards your question, where it's like drawing circular shapes and then starting to add what I think goes over top of it. And there's a lot of errors in doing that because your proportions get messed up. And I have to take into account here that the picture is on a slant because of the way you took the picture. And I will say, I know you probably don't want to hear it, I know a lot of people don't want to hear it, stop drawing anime. Start learning structure first, and then, you know, put your style on top of it. And anime is a style. It's not a way of drawing, it's just a style. And once you start learning structure, your stuff will become a little bit easier. Oh, crap, did I draw over top of it? Ah, shit. Sorry. So, don't think there's anything I'm not going to erase it, but if you look at this really quickly, let me see if I can turn the opacity down so you can see a little bit. So if you just look at this, they look like, I guess, midgets or something like that. Not to be rude, but, you know, shorter people. And they look fake. Like, it looks like you could draw little mannequin arms coming up off of them. And that's the problem you're having. Okay? So we can delete that. I'm just going to paste it again. And what I'll do here is I'm just going to redraw what you have with some proper anatomy in there, okay? So just so you can see how I would have tackled it or went about it a little different. So we'll start with the guy because he's... No, here. We'll do the girl because nobody ever likes strong girls unless they've got big boobs or something stupid. Okay. Yeah, let's press tab so we can get more area to draw. Alright, so she's doing the classic 3/4 stuff. Again, what I would normally start with is usually the chest if it's a simple thing like this. And put some curve into it so that you get some life. And they look like they might be thieves or something. Maybe bandits. They got the raggedy clothing, but I'm just going to change her posture up a little bit, okay? So, we got our straight line there. Now, this is where I'm going to show you right now the hips, okay? So, you drew your hips like this. I'm not going to give her giant hips, but I'm just going to make her hips bigger. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay? Now what this does is it makes it so that she looks a little bit more feminine. Okay? And we're going to find that she's standing like this. Get her collarbone action in there. Okay, and her boobs are going to fit right on there. Usually I'll go in with the legs because she needs a place to stand first. And then you kind of have her arms up like this. Actually, let's... So again, once you learn some proportions and structure and stuff, all this will come easier. So give her a spot for her neck. And since we have the information, boobs fall a little bit like teardrops. See what you're doing here? You got your boobs looking like this. Hey, you know, fake boobs are a thing, but they do kind of look like pecs, like a guy's pecs in a way. So just give them a little bit of life. I know they might be in a bra or something holding them down, but it's good to have that information there. I'll just gesture in where the cylinder shapes are going. She got a fist like that. Okay. And then from there we could go ahead and kind of get some more structure going on there. So we've got an eye. And actually here, I know you got anime going on, so let's try to get some anime-esque stuff going, even though I'm going to butcher it. Ugh, looking like an alien. Alright, screw this. I'm not going to go in there, but anyway, I mean, granted, this that I'm drawing here is a realistic style as opposed to what you're going for, I think. There's no real point in going with the guy. Hopefully this answered your question. I know I was a little over the place like I usually am, but it's more of a structure thing and a fundamentals. So as much as I'm assuming you want to draw your own stuff, and I highly recommend you do that, I think it would do you some justice just to sit down maybe once or twice a week, more if you can do it, and just focus on getting your core stuff better. You'll know your some people ask like how long should I learn anatomy and structure and stuff. I would say your best bet is once you feel comfortable drawing like Spider-Man, you know, like swinging at you, or dynamics and foreshortening. If you feel, I'm not saying you're knocking it out of the park, but if you feel comfortable, if I asked you to draw a guy doing a backflip, but like a really complex pose, could you do it? And if the answer is no, keep hacking away and keep getting a little bit better. Dan619 is asking, how would you draw the front view of the latimus dorsi on average women? I have trouble drawing them too big. Latimus dorsi. What's the latimus? The lats. Your lats. Well, those are on the back. from drawing them too big? That's a good question. Let's say we got our ribs. Just going to lift one of her arms here so we can get that lat to come out. So your arm's really coming up at you. Hey, no problem, Kat. Hopefully I helped you out anyway, yeah. I hate doing all that talking and it's like, I don't even know what I'm talking about. I start to like lose it. I apologize to any women in the room if I'm botching up your bodies. Apologize. Okay, so if I had that, I think the easiest way is know where your shoulder is. Okay, so just like a guy's pec or whatever, this is the pec right here. No, that's lie. Sorry, that's your shoulder. Your shoulders come into your pecs like that. There we go. So once you know all three heads of the shoulder, and it's like this really weird area in here where your bicep and your tricep and stuff are coming out. But once you have your shoulder is going to go into like your shoulder blade, which might be a little sharp just to show it's bone. And then you got your big old rib cage here. Sometimes this line here you can follow down into your abs, like all this, kind of like a teardrop shape, but you can turn all of that into a lat. I know it looks a little weird, or let me draw another angle here. Usually when drawing like women's, you can do like this thing where it's like two triangles. That's like a little trick as well. Let's see if we can make her flexing. Again, I think most of this stuff, it just comes down to your basics, right? If you're struggling with something like this, just grab an anatomy book. There's something you're forgetting, which is okay. Because all of us artists, man, we gotta like remember a lot of stuff. Okay, so we got the ribs. Okay, so we got our arm in there. Let's just turn it off. So this is what we're looking at so far, okay? Now if you look in the mirror and you take your shirt off, and you could, I don't care how fat you are, how skinny you are, everybody's got lats, right? But you can see like how you flare your arms back and stuff. They get bigger the closer you bring your elbows together in front of you, and if you're pretending to squeeze like a grape behind your shoulder blades, they almost disappear. And that's because, from my understanding anyway, those lat muscles in the back, those are what help you pull your arms back, you know? But let's assuming, I know your question was, what if they look too big? So let's bring an arm up to the foreground, like we were just talking about. I'm gonna have to erase her breast there. Because if this arm here, or forearm, is coming this way, gotta erase the collarbone. Gotta erase all of it because the anatomy is a little different here. So we got like a little spot for her bicep, then the giant shoulder, which would mean your collarbone's going in there. You got your tricep coming in there. But because all this squishing here, her boob's gonna come in a little bit. I'm not gonna worry about the proper anatomy of that right now. But let's just turn it off so we can see, okay? So she's got her one arm in front of her. If you put like a little bit of a lat there, I mean, I guess it could work. If you did it like this, it looks, I don't want to say it looks weird because it kind of still looks good. But at the same time, if you're looking for like that slick swimmer kind of look, that might be a little too much. But on this side, you can definitely put one there. Right? And if we put a little bit of line weight and shadow in there, it'll really help it. But again, if we did it on the other side like that, it still looks fine. You know what I mean? And I think people just need to remember that. Once you start looking at some structure and you get comfortable, doing something like that, like we were just throwing this lat in here on this side, even though it shouldn't be there, sometimes just because it looks good, but it's not correct, it still means you should do it, right? And this is something I just want people to be less afraid of. Just because it's not anatomically 100% correct, it doesn't matter as long as it's fun and it looks good. Most people are more interested in something that looks cool than they are if it looks correct, okay? So if you put this next to something that looked realistic, again, this is going into taste and style and stuff, but usually as long as it's not so out of whack, it's all over the place, as long as you have some thought put behind why you're doing what you're doing, as long as it looks cool, you'll be alright. And what does look cool mean? I mean, that could be a lot of things. But anyway, let me know if that helped or if I was totally out to lunch and you have no idea what the hell. And for everybody in the chat room, if you guys had a question or comment that you needed some help with, I think by all means, feel free to just toss it out there. Can you share with us your page dimension settings? Sure. Actually, I thought I had it online somewhere. Okay, well, let me know. Do you have Manga Studio open? Let me know when it's open, and I'll just read it to you. That way it's a little bit easier. And while I'm doing that, I have to make some busted glass. So I like to use the Lasso Tool on this. And what we're doing is making solid black shapes. There's some solid shapes on him though. But what's really cool is, look for little things like this that you can do in your drawing and comics especially, where you can lead the eye with like motion. So we know he got thrown out a window and there's all this glass that's following him, but he's falling faster than the glass, right? So it's helping sell the fact that he just went flying. He went for a little ride. Put a little down here. Okay, so now we have that. I'm just going to fill it with black just so we can see what's going on. Now that I have that, if you hold Alt and click on the layer, it'll all get selected. And I like to reduce it by, I think it was 0.2. And I'm just going to fill it with white. Let me just make sure that's right. Yep. So what that lets me do is it lets me just like stack some shapes over top of things. So I'm just going to do it again. That way when we go over there to put our final inks and lines and stuff, we can put some 3D element onto these guys if we want it. You don't have to have it. And this is one of the awesome things about working digital, I'll tell you that right now, is doing something like this would be so monotonous and take quite a bit of time if you're using like a regular pencil. And then we're going to reduce the selection. Yep, fill it with white. And I'm debating of adding more speed lines back there. What do we have? Yeah. Actually, let me just try something here. I want to see if we can use some of the cool effects in Manga Studio. So I'm going to make a selection, I go up to filter, what is it, art drawing? Copy, no. It's like artist or something. Oh, is it up here? Render. Focus, whoops. Focus light speed lines? No. Maybe it is tone. Yeah. So this is probably gonna lag kind of hard for you guys. What Manga Studio comes with, there's like a lot of tools here, obviously, and like I can just click and make speed lines without having to really do much work. Just zoom in a bit here so I can see what's. Weird. Don't repeat. Why? There we go. Jeez, it's taking a while. Alright, let's rotate this guy. This is taking a while. This should not take this long. This is the benefits of actually having a cool computer. This stuff would go much faster. Maybe that's something I should start saving up for. This is getting ridiculous. Alright, let's just click OK, see what this looks like. So, let's see how it's looking. Just delete this stuff here. I don't really want any speed lines on him too much. Alright, let's just turn this off. Looks alright. Could use a little bit of love. I'll have to go over that when I'm inking and just kind of tighten up these speed lines a bit. They look kind of boring. But yeah, so that panel is done there. Uh-oh. Speak of the devil. How's it going, Robson? Rempa. One thing I don't like about Manga Studio 5 EX is that, as far as I can tell, they don't have a way for you to make your own panels. I could be wrong, but I haven't been able to find out how to do that. Really? That's disheartening. Ian, were you asking me to open Manga Studio? Because if you were, I warn you that my computer probably can't handle the live stream Manga Studio and downloading adult-oriented cinema at the same time. Okay. Jeez. Alright, let me save this. Get a pen and paper ready. Let me know when you got your pen and paper, and I'll read it to you. Yeah, it's okay. Well, for everybody that's watching this video on YouTube after the fact, looks like the hour's about up. So I'll share with you guys soon the personal project stuff that I'm doing. I'm not that far along in it right now. I will just let you know, I was listening to a podcast with Tennapel. Definitely check out his stuff if you have no idea who I'm talking about. You might just need to hear his name and see his work to know who he is. But he was talking about his workflow. I don't know if he still does this or not for making new comics, but it tickled me the right way. And the first thing you do is just grab a sketchbook or draw. Just design characters. Have some idea. Your characters will start to give you a story themselves. At least they do for me. That's why I kind of like this method. Just keep drawing and continually think throughout the day of just stuff that might happen in your story, and write little notes down. Just kind of have fun with it. And then as it starts to, solidify itself, then you can move on to making the plots. And I'll get into a video on how I like to do that. And with your plots, you can kind of meld them together, maybe do another pass at your designs, your characters. And then from there, it's pretty much do like tight drawings if you want of the main characters and the villains or whatever. And then do the first pass to your script, and then maybe look it over, whatever, draw your thumbnails, and then start making an actual comic. But it's what I like about it is it's very proactive in moving forward with a project, and outside of finding the time to do it. So, yeah, with that, I guess, okay, for the last couple minutes here, I will give you guys, in case you guys wanted it, that are watching the recorded version 2, the dimensions here, this file. But anyway, I'm going to end the video after I say the page stuff. And then I'll be back for everybody in the live stream, probably for like another half hour to an hour. And I'll just show you, not much, but I'll show you some of the stuff that I got going so far for the personal project. So, see if I can double click it. Okay, there we go. Okay, so you got your pen and paper ready. So, I'm just going to read it straight down from the top. So, template name it whatever you want. Under basic info, I like to work at 600 DPI because my computer can luckily handle it, but I find that my line quality is better. Okay, and if it's 300 DPI, I find that it gets a little bit jaggy. Just do whatever you can do. If you can, try 600 DPI, see if it's something you like. And the basic color model, I go to monochrome, and then under page size, I've got 6,600 by 9,900 pixels. I believe that's the maximum it can go. And it's on units, I have inches, and the width would be 11 inches, and height is 16.500 inches. Inside dimensions, for width, I have 9.993 inches. Height is 15.247 inches. And basic frame, I have the little pull-down menu. You can go to specify size. The width is 9 inches, and the height is 14.247 inches. And offset for X and Y are both 0. Then under bleed width, I have 0.300 inches. Okay, so leave it on the screen so you guys can just fast forward to the end here, and if you want, just pause it. That's cool. And yeah, I guess I'll leave it with one other really cool idea that Mr. Robson himself gave me last night. I haven't done this personally. The format that I have laid out here works, but what he brought up was, it definitely does work, and I would recommend giving it a shot, because he says it works for him, but look online or make your own, like a 600 or a 300 DPI image file of like an artboard that you might get at Marvel or DC. You can type in Marvel artboard, DC artboard, just so you can get the requirements. And then once you have that image, you can just paste it into Manga Studio as an underneath layer and just draw over top of it, and all your guides are going to be fine. And you could just export it where you need it from there if you really wanted to get that crazy. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate it. And take care. We'll see you in the next live stream. Keep reading comics. Keep making comics. And we'll talk to you soon.